All right. So let's continue. So this is about addition of halo acids or hydrogen halide. So there are two rules that you have to consider. So whenever we are adding any HX to alkene, you will get Markovnikov's product or anti-Markovnikov's product. So Markovnikov's product is common. Like for unsymmetrical alkanes, it's common, the stable carbocation. So only thing is in anti-Markovnikov's product, you have two cases where you are performing this particular addition when there are minus I groups, or in case of addition of HBr where we are doing it in presence of a peroxide. So in these two cases, the Anthony-Markovnikov's product will be the major one. In other cases, we will be having Markovnikov's product as the major product. So these are the two things that you have to consider for the first addition reaction. So let's go for the second addition reaction, that is addition of halogens. Take down the second addition reaction, addition of halogens. You might be having a doubt, why are we adding both the halogens? In the previous step only we have added one hydrogen and one halogen, right? But this part, very important. So they have asked one question from this area also. What is, like, regarding the specificity of adding these hydrogens and all, halogens and all. So addition of halogens, we will be adding literally both the halogens onto the alkene. So we will take any alkene, RCH double bond CHR. Literally, we will heat or we will do the reaction in presence of fluorine, fluorine, bromine, or iodine, so that in the end we have vicinal dihalides. Why only vicinal? Why aren't we getting geminol? Means you will understand once we write the examples and all. So you might be having a doubt, how come the reaction proceed? Isn't the halogen-halogen bond is non-polar? Because the covalent bond between the same type of atoms will be non-polar, because there will be equal distribution of electron clouds, which means there is no positive charge or negative charge in this particular halogen-halogen bond. Then how come we are able to add both the halogens onto the adjacent carbon? So what is the dynamics involved here? So here the electronic interactions will take care of polarizing this halogen halogen bond. So as the alkene and halogen H2 approach, okay, before we go for this point, you all know that when it comes to a pi bond, the electron cloud will be above and below the plane, right? The electron cloud, whatever the pi electron cloud we have, it will be above and below the plane. It's not symmetrical, like it's not localized electron cloud, it is delocalized electron cloud. Is this a part of nucleophilic, electrophilic, and free radical addition in the chemical properties? Is this a part of nucleophilic, electrophilic, and free radical addition in the chemical properties? In chemical properties, all are addition reactions only, whatever we are dealing. But the mechanism decides whether it is electrophilic addition or free radical addition. In the above case, we have seen both of them as, first one was electrophilic, Markovnikov's rule, anti-Markovnikov's rule in Karash effect. We have seen free radical mechanism. And if you are asking about the exact addition of halogens, it will be electrophilic addition only. I will tell you how is it going to be electrophilic addition also. Yes, this is part of adding the groups, whether they are electrophiles, nucleophiles, or free radicals, is determined by the mechanism we are following. All right. So here, when it comes to halogen, alkene we have with a weak pi bond with the pi electron cloud above and below the carbon-carbon bond. Second thing is we have halogen-halogen bond, which is a non-polar bond. But we all know this pi bond is not fixed. The electron cloud is not fixed. It is a delocalized bond. That is, the electron cloud is not fixed. So when an alkene and the halogen, when they are interacting, let's say the electron cloud is more above the plane at one particular instant. So the electron cloud is more above the plane, and the halogen is approaching in this direction. So this electron rich alkene will polarize this halogen-halogen bond. So dipole-dipole interactions. So delta minus and delta plus. This will help us in the next step. So as the alkene and the halogen approach, the pi electron cloud of the double bond, the pi electron cloud of the double bond will result in the repulsion between the pi electron cloud and the non-bonding electrons. The non-bonding electrons in halogen, thereby polarizing the halogen molecule momentarily. Thereby polarizing the halogen molecule momentarily. So near this pi electron cloud, if the halogens come near to them, then there will be electronic repulsions leading to polarization of the halogen. So this part is important. So the one near the pi electron cloud will end up having, okay, sorry, delta positive. Yes. Yeah, delta negative. They are having repulsions, right? So that repulsions will momentarily polarize delta minus and delta positive. I wrote correct. So they will polarize momentarily, leading to repulsions and thereby increases their reactivity. So how come this polarization is happening means because of the electronic repulsions, because of the interactions between the pi electron cloud and the non-bonding electrons. You know, halogens have lone pair, right? So they will interact and they will polarize. And because of this polarization, the XX, the halogen will form X plus and X minus. So if this is X minus, we simply call it as halide. So what do we call with halogen having a positive charge? We call it as halonium ion. Just like carbon with positive charge is carbonium, oxygen with positive charge is oxonium. This is halonium ion. So this halonium ion will be the attacking reagent. Means in the first step, this will attack. So that's why this reaction is also an electrophilic addition reaction, because in the first step, X plus will goes and get itself attached on the carbon-carbon double bond. So I'll give you a gist. These all context is about having reservations. How come X and X will attack our alkene? Because there will be electronic repulsions. Because of that, the X and X bond will polarize, giving us halide ion and halonium ion. Halide will be the one with negative charge and halonium ion is halogen with the positive charge. So this is all the context you require, because you are not supposed, let's say if they ask the conceptual question, you should be in a position to answer. How come these exact polarization will happen in the non-polar halogen molecule? Because of the electronic repulsions between pi electron cloud and the non-bonding electrons present in the halogen atom. Okay, now let us see the reaction, how it will move forward. So take down a simple example. So we have ethene, CH2 double bond CH2, and we are performing the Br2 reaction. We are doing the bromination. So we end up with CH2Br, CH2Br. So we have 1,2 dibromo ethane. So here we don't have any alkyl group to back up, or there is no thing about in what direction the electron will shift or not. But when you go for unsymmetrical alkenes, just like in the previous case, CH3, CH double bond CH2, then we will be having a dot. What is the rate determined? Anyway, the bromines will add at 1,2 positions only. but how will they get themselves added? That part is important. Yes, it is anti only. It is anti. It can be cis also. It can be syn addition also. That will be decided later. But yeah, most of the cases it will be anti. Here you have hydrogens on the right. Anyway, this is a meso compound. It will be anti only, one above one. Okay, I'll write exactly as it is. 1,2 dibromoethane. So CH2, CH double bond, CH2, Br2. Here also, both bromines will get added onto the carbon with a double bond. But what will get to what carbon? Firstly, the first bromium ion will go and get itself added. If you want to know that, we have to look at the mechanism. So the mechanism will be kind of twisty, but it's easier to understand. So let me show you how it happens. So in the first step, we have CH3. Okay, I'll give you the products. CH3, CH, CH2, Br and Br. So this will be our product. So how come these bromines are added? I told you that Br plus or the bromium ion or the halonium ion is attacking our alkene first, right? So how come it gets attached? Let's see. So what do we have initially? We have an alkene CH3, CH double bond CH2. So when the bromine molecule is attacking our alkene, what will happen? There will be polarization. CH3, CH double bond CH2. So whatever the bromine bond you have delta plus and delta minus, something like that. So this delta plus will approach the molecule first. So let's just say it got itself attached. CH3, CHBr, and you have CH2 plus. So initially, whatever the bromine that is added to the alkene will be Br plus, the bromine with the positive charge, that is bromonium ion. Now, this will form a bridged kind of molecule because there will be an n-orbital on this carbon with the positive charge, right? So, a bridged intermediate will form something like this. So, Br plus. Wait, I'll write in the next step. So, whatever the bromium that we have added, the continuation part, CH3, CH, CH2. So we have a positive charge, right? Whatever the Br that is being added here, it will be forming a bridged complex CH, Br and CH2 with a positive charge on the bromine. And whatever the bonding is happening, the bromine between this carbon and this carbon, it will be the same. So in the second step, our Br minus will be attacking. So Br minus will attack over here, and this electron pair will be withdrawn by this. So we have CH3, CHBr, and CH2 Br. So one will be above the plane and the other one will be below the plane. So how come this bridge compound is forming means on the carbon with the positive charge there will be an empty or vacant p orbital. So that will be overlapping with the bromine uh, bromine over here, and that will form a bridge complex. The mechanism is not important, but how come these bromines are added, in what way they are added will be the important part. Because in the exam also they have asked when trans alkene is brominated, what is the final product form? Because when you have chiral centers also, isomerism will take place, right? So in that point of view, they have asked the question. So this is bromination part, where bromine will be polarized because of the pi electron cloud, and the first addition will be bromine with the positive charge, that is bromonium ion, making this also an electrophilic addition reaction. So in the next step, bromide ion will attack in the opposite way, and you will have. Why is it trans again? Yeah, definitely. So the thing is, I'll show you an example. So let me take trans alkene only. Let's take some trans butene. This was asked in previous mains actually. So trans butene, butene, butene on bromination gives what type of product? So what product? What is the isomer that is formed? They have asked this question in the previous year mains. Which year I don't remember, but they have asked this. So I'll tell you how exactly this anti-addition or syn addition will happen. Is then the stability of carbocation not considered? Definitely they will consider. That's the reason why definitely they will consider in unsymmetrical alkenes they will consider, but not of importance at JEE mains level actually. They will consider because whatever the bromide ion, bromium ion that is added, it is attacking on the carbon with negative charge, thereby giving us a positively charged carbonium ion as our intermediate. But the thing is not important. Already there are n number of stuff happening in the three steps. I am not going deep because it will further complicate. I'm just giving you the basics, what you can understand. Okay. Yes, they have to consider whenever you have unsymmetrical alkenes, definitely the stabilities have to be considered. Okay. So, yeah, as I was saying, this was asked in the previous year mains. So, whenever you have trans butene, obviously you have the alkyl groups on the opposite side. Yes or no? So, H and H. Now we are performing the bromination reaction. So what do we have? Bromine is also a bigger molecule, right? So whenever this bromine is being added onto this alkene, obviously the alkyl groups will should be considered because we are adding to the carbon containing alkyl groups as substituents. So this Br2 will perform anti-addition. So one bromine from the other side, the another bromine from the other side. So we have sorry, C and C, CH3, CH3 you have. So here you have hydrogen, so the bromine will get added here. So here you have hydrogen, the bromine will get added here. So this is the anti-addition part. Why exactly the trans product, the trans reactant is showing anti-addition means because of the alkyl groups. It can undergo the syn addition also. I mean the addition of the bromine groups on the same side. So what happens in that scenario also I'll give. You can guess actually. Yeah. What happens if we have the syn addition? Means both the bromine groups are added on the same side. So we have meso compound. CH3, CH3, both the hydrogens will be on one side. Hydrogen, CH3, bromine and CH3. Shouldn't be meso formed on anti-addition on trans. Will it lead to hindrance? Due to big size of the earth. Yes, there will be ma. That's why in anti addition is more favored. On the other side of the CH3 only bromine will get added. In case of syn addition, meso formed from anti addition with trans. CH2, CH2, CH3. We have meso isomer. One on the other side, the other one on the other side. Meso compound only, right? Acha, we had what? Enantiomers we are getting. Wait a second, let me check. Syn addition, enantiomers. Anti-addition, yes, correct. I added in the another way. Wait a second. Yes, meso compound should come actually. Wait a second. I'll erase and I'll write. Mm. Okay. So anti on the opposite sides. So what do we have? Let's say one bromine will attack from this side and the another bromine will attack from this side in the anti in the first scenario. So we have CH3, carbon and CH3. So H, H, Br and Br. So we will have a mesoform. So when we have syn addition, both the bromines will be attacking on the same side. So there are two possibilities: carbon, carbon, CH3, H, Br, H and Br, or else Br, H, Br, H and CH3. So we end up with enantiomers. So the anti-addition will give us mesoform where there will be a plane of symmetry and optically inactive compound will be the final product. Whereas when we are adding syn addition, then we will be getting a pair of enantiomers. That is racemic mixture we will have in the product. So anti-addition will give meso and the syn addition will give a racemic mixture. So when we have the cis alkene, it will be the another case. So if the same cis alkene, if we take cis but 2 cis 2 butene, they will give the opposite product. For syn addition, you will have meso compound, and for the trans addition, you will have uh, racemic mixture. Let us write those also. You are asking about steric hindrance. Hmm. In question, will they mention which addition to do? No, no, no. We have to do the addition actually. We have to write the formula, trans formula. Then we have to do the addition. They won't tell. So when it comes to the trans addition, because always anti-addition will happen. Anti in the sense the trans in the sense the methyl groups are on the other one on either side of the plane, right? So the bromine addition also will happen in the same way. In anti-addition, it will be added. In anti-addition, it will be added, and this will be the most preferred way of addition for trans-butene. So when we have the cis-butene, C double bond C, CH3, CH3, H and H. Here you will have syn addition first. So in the syn addition, you will be getting what happened? No? Could you explain this in an anti-addition once again? Okay. So here, when we are adding bromines to the carbon-carbon double bonded side, when it in case of trans addition, well, like to the trans alkene, we will be adding bromines in anti manner. Anti manner in the sense we will be adding one bromine in two different planes. So that will give us a meso compound. So here, if we write the wedge dash formula, we will get more clarity. But the thing is, anti-addition of this particular compound, trans-butene, will give meso compound. When we are performing syn addition, syn means in sync. Both the bromines will be added from the same side, on the same side of the plane. So if that's the case, we have two types of isomers for the trans-butene. One is dextrorotatory, the other one will be levorotatory. So we end up having a racemic mixture. We end up having a racemic mixture in the products. So in the previous year question, they have asked this part only. Trans-butene on bromination gives how many optically active compounds or how many products it will give. It will give only meso product. And yeah, let me repeat the question. Yes, yeah, the number of stereoisomers obtained. The number of stereoisomers is only one because we have meso, only meso compound we will have. Whereas if it is syn addition, if we would have gotten There's amic mixture, but anti-addition will be more favor for the trans-butene because we have bulkier groups on either side of the plane, right? So we cannot attack both the bromines in one plane. So one will be added in on one plane, the other one will be added in the second one. How come in anti we add from opposite side? So how bromine are on same side? For that we have to write the wedge dash formula. Wait, I'll show you how. Where is the result? So we have carbon-carbon double bond. One side we have CH3, the other side we have H. So, right, so you have CH3, CH3, H and H. So if we write the wedge dash projection for this after the addition of Dr2, so this is carbon-carbon single bond. So away from the plane we have CH3, on the plane like wedge dash, solid wedge dash, we have CH3. Means one CH3 molecule is above the plane, the other one is below the plane, which means one is away from the viewer, the another CH3 is towards the viewer. So the solid CH3. So the bromine will be added one over here and the another one over here. So we have solid wedge hydrogen, and here you have this hydrogen. So once we write the methyl groups, now when we are trying to write the Fischer projection, obviously this will be our main chain, right? This will be our longer one. So we have CH3, CH3. So what do we have if we take this as carbon number 1, carbon number 2? So here the hydrogen is fixed. So the bromine goes over here. Here the bromine position is fixed on the carbon number 3. So the bromine comes over here and the hydrogen will come over here. Wait, no, the other way. Sorry. We have to rotate them because we have to bring the bromines, right? So here two two flips are required. 1 and 2, if you do, the configuration will reverse. So H, H, and then you have Br, and then you have Br. So we have to again do all those shifting and all, but we end up having a mesoisomer. Br on the third carbon, it is fixed. So that's why we are writing hydrogen over here. When we flip the positions of CH3 with the hydrogen, this is not required, only one. CH3 and H, you'll have that over there. Yes, so this will give us a meso compound. This will give us a meso compound. For trans-butene, if we perform bromination, the addition will happen in anti manner. The bromines will be added to the opposite sides. Once they are done, if you write the Fischer projection, we will have a plane of symmetry giving us a meso compound. Okay, so scroll up. Yes, one second. Yes, this is it. So there is cis and cis also. There is a list. That list I will give. So in the afternoon class, we will see some more addition reaction. Anyway, we have study hour at 1:30 only. So I'll take one more hour. I'll give you break in between. I'll take one more hour. If there was class yesterday, we would have covered a major part. But because of that, we have to go one more extra hour today. If other sirs will tell like you, if they want extra class, please let them know that I'll be taking 2 hours in the afternoon. At least we'll finish the major part. We have to do ozonolysis reaction, oxymercuration, demercuration, and hydroboration oxidation. Those three parts are very important. So that part we will try to cover first, and the other reactions are simpler ones. We can do them, but ozonolysis and oxymercuration, demercuration will take a lot of time to understand. So that part we have to cover. So Yes, 1:30 to 3:30. In between, I'll give the usual 10 minutes break you can have, like how you have between individual study hours and all. Okay, and yeah, only today will be hectic. Tomorrow and all, I'll try to take only 1 hour only. Because yesterday I missed the class, I have to cover it up. That's it. Well, we do ozonization. Ozonolysis, I want to do it in today's session itself. In the afternoon part, I'll do the ozonolysis. Even if you have the continuation, we have like continue the similar type of reaction. After we do the important reactions only, I'll do the other ones. Ozonolysis, they have asked it twice in the previous year's mains. Uh, Demercuration part, they have asked once. So that part we should not ignore. You have to practice question. So I'll do that part in the afternoon itself. Ozonolysis and oxymercuration, demercuration, and hydroboration, oxidation, like HBO ozonolysis, like OMDM reactions. List of all chemical properties also, yes. Afternoon class I will write it. I'll write it and I'll share in the group. I'll give all the properties. Okay, I'll mark them. Don't worry. I thought of doing now because it will take time. I just hold myself back. In the afternoon class I'll give. That is the first thing I'll do. Okay. All right. That will be for now. We'll meet again at 1:30. Log in on time. We'll try to do as many as possible in today's session. So if other sirs ask, also tell them that we'll be having 2 hours chemistry in the afternoon session. Okay. All right. That will be for now, ma. We'll meet in the afternoon. All right.